For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me to discuss leadership, honor, integrity, and trust. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
You paint a picture of a compromised president, as well as the MPs, and others whose integrity has come into question. What are the consequences?
I think without dealing with honor and integrity, when the president dismissed Dhlamini and the rand collapsed and there was this huge loss on the stock exchange and he had to bring back Pravin Gordhan, I think his standing suffered. And it's unusual that someone like Pravin Gordhan, who doesn't have a big following, like he doesn't have like some people have he comes from KZN, now Beki Cele has got a big following there. Now Pravin Gordhan has not got that sort of following, but he's obviously come back under certain conditions, in that banking people and others went to see the president before Gordhan was brought back, and clearly he has a job to do to try and rescue the country from the possibility of reduction, demotion, or whatever it is, to junk status, which means that we are a very heavily indebted country, and if you are junk status you pay much more for your loans, so that we are already in an economic crisis. And that crisis was made worse by the president. And it means now that his room to maneuver with various parastatals, for example, we had someone like Ellen Chabalala with fake qualifications heading the SABC. He's got Dhlamini doing various things with SAA. He's got nuclear deals. You can already see that he is being more cautious, that in his State of the Nation speech, people say you can see the imprint of Pravin Gordhan because, amongst other things, he said, we will only go for a nuclear deal if it is affordable. And notions of affordability don't usually enter into the calculations of the president, who doesn't tend to calculate the costs for others. If there's a cost for himself, then he calculates very carefully and he's concerned about it. But there is no, there has up to now been no price too great to pay for the benefit and comfort of the president. And I think that may have changed. It is said, I didn't watch it all, so I'm going by reports, that when the debate on the State of the Nation occurred, there were very few points of order from the ANC. I think the ANC, many of them are very angry, because when his counsel went to the Constitutional Court and more or less admitted that they had acted illegally, that he should have abided by the public protector's findings, that the police minister's justifications for the costs and various others, that these were illegal basically, he really threw them to the wolves in order to save himself. Now this is not a new thing, in the sense that the fraud charges against Zuma related to his relationship with Schabir Shaik. Where is Shaik today? When he doesn't need you, he is prepared to dump you. And I think people are very angry because they had to vote in droves for things that many of them must have known were not correct. And I think they've probably had their children saying to them, how could you vote in support of this, that and the other on Nkandla? And now, having done that, the president's lawyer says it was all illegal. So that's a problem. But it doesn't mean that Zuma will go tomorrow. It's not obvious for various reasons. The ANC obviously hasn't prepared itself for this. There's been this Premier League that has been pushing for, implicitly, for Nkosazana Dhlamini Zuma, the other people who want Cyril Ramaphosa, although the people who want Cyril Ramaphosa, the constituency, may be mainly the media and business. I'm not sure that Cyril Ramaphosa actually has as much support as business would like. People will say, you know, if Cyril comes in, everything will be fine, and this will be fixed up, that will be fixed up. There's no strong evidence to support that. I'm not saying Cyril Ramaphosa would not be an improvement, but you know, he's actually treated with ridicule. On Twitter, there are very many people who know very well what his name is, and they refer to him, Africans, referring to him as cereal. And when cereal comes in, this, that, and the other one happens. So they're actually treating him as an object of ridicule, because they see him as having done the bidding of Zuma. Whenever he's asked about Zuma, he's effusive in his praise. And Zuma is not a fool. You know, if there's a difficult job, he'll send Ramaphosa to do it. So that if he messes it up, the blame goes to Ramaphosa. And this reputation of being Mr. Fix-It, I don't know what he's fixed, but the thing about it is he's been given very difficult tasks. Also, it's important to understand that the ANC is no longer an organization which rallies around programs. So that if some people are pushing for Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, they were not pushing around a particular program. And it consisted primarily of factions close to Zuma, people who are allegedly very corrupt, like Free State, Mpumalanga, and Northwest premiers. And now those people must have taken a knock, with Zuma taking a knock. So the situation is blurred. It's not clear what is going to happen, where the ANC is going to go from here. Although I think the ANC is in something of disarray. You know, I was thinking the other day, I was saying to my wife this morning that I was walking down the street and I was seeing two Africans wearing a DA t-shirt. I thought, yo, how can they do this? But then I thought, but how can you wear a t-shirt with Zuma on it, you see? So, you know, where we have come to, aware that you have choices like this, to me is a bit shocking.
And now what do you think of the role played by the EFF and the DA?
Yeah, you know, it's easy to say the EFF are hooligans and this, that and the other. But the EFF brought the public to focus on Nkandla. The slogan, "Pay back the money," meant that ordinary people who said it jokingly actually were aware of the need for accountability to pay back monies that you spent that belonged to the public. And they brought this court case. Well, let's say they disrupt things a lot. Now, personally, I'm not in favor of disruption on a permanent basis. Ultimately, we must try to make the institutions of Parliament work. And I think the problem that we have is, do they intend this to be an ongoing thing or not? In the meantime, however, along with disruptions, they bring a court case in the Constitutional Court, which has resulted in concessions of a massive kind. Clearly, this chap Gauntlet is a top advocate. He decided he's not going to defend Zuma and upset his own reputation. And he went there and he made a range of concessions which really led him to show Zuma to have acted illegally. Consequently, he ended up saying to the court, please don't make a finding of a very generalized kind that could be used to impeach Zuma. So all of this has happened because, on the one hand, the EFF have put pressure on the ANC and on Zuma in Parliament, but they have also engaged in legal action. Some people said this, you can't just go straight to the Constitutional Court like they did. In the end, the DA followed them. In the end, there are a number of friends of the court who went there, and it's even without the judgment of the court, it has been a very impressive showing. The DA, on the other hand, I really think doesn't get it right in terms of understanding how you speak to black South Africans. You know, when you have the chief whip saying to the chair of the assembly, you're talking rubbish and refusing to withdraw it, my feeling is Africans are, in racist South Africa, have been called stupid. And when you say you're talking rubbish, as opposed to saying, look, this is not correct for this, that, and the other, you're actually saying something like you're talking nonsense, you're stupid. And I think it has almost got racist meanings to people. They don't seem to see the offense that they are causing. They don't really appreciate the importance of race. That is why you have someone like Mashaba coming out as a candidate and saying, I don't consider myself black. Now, what is he, if he's not black? So I don't think I think that there's a general feeling amongst black people that the DA is meritocratic. It is anti-poor. It emphasizes merit, which is a code word for cutting back on social spending, things like that. So I think there's that general feeling, that general problem, which personally I have myself, although I'm not happy with the ANC, I'm not confident that the DA has got an alternative that would improve the lives of the majority of the people.
Thank you, Professor. That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about leadership, honor, integrity and trust.